Good evening and welcome to our Tuesday night call. As you folks know, tonight let me push some buttons here to get rid of these ding-dongs. Give me a second here.
All callers are muted and they can unmute themselves. All callers are muted. Entry and exit chimes are off.
Okay, now we can go to work. As we talked about in our email this week, everybody, is that what do we think more is important to the folks that we're talking with? Does it make sense that it's not what we think that is important, but it's really more important what they think? And tonight, to give you an idea how that works, some of our regular co-hosts that you're used to their names all the time, Deborah and Steve Cox and Vanessa and Naomi, and there's a few others that are on the call here, I asked them to step out of the box a little bit and think about some of the really tough situations that you need to really, really focus on what's important to the person first. And to start out with, Steve has a question that he wants to ask that it will be a very challenging question, so the idea is just how do we focus on him first and not about me? So, Steve, if you'd like to get started, what is your question, please?
Well, John, what's the name of the company?
What's the name of the company? Well, the name of the company, since you said you were looking for high-tech, Steve, is ABC High-Tech, and I'm just curious, what do you see as the answer to your problem, after everything you've looked at?
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to find something that will help me supplement my income. Got a job, but jobs don't last forever, so I've got to do something for myself.
How important is it to you to solve that problem, Steve?
It's pretty important because the industry I'm in can fluctuate, and where I am, our company is not on that strong a footing.
Okay. All right. Have you made any decisions, Steve, about how do you see yourself in doing something on your own and having your own business? Have you got any, vision of what your expectations are?
Well, I've never been in business before, but what I'd like to do is try to get into something that I can learn and grow, and over time, make it a significant income where I could leave my job.
So, if you were to be looking for features for your business, it sounds like income is important. What about issues like time? Being your own boss, working on your own.
Well, I tell you, I'm single, so I've got time after I come home from work. I get home, 6 o'clock, 6:30. So I've got time during the week, and on the weekends I've got time. So time is not a big problem unless because I'm not looking to get into a business that's full time. I mean, I've got a full-time job, so.
Okay. So you're looking for something part-time.
And I would hope that, that time would be sufficient to start and operate a business, at least for initially, while I do have a job.
Okay. Is there anything right now in what you've been doing that's stopping you from helping yourself move forward with this challenge?
No, nothing's stopping me other than trying to find something that I like and can believe in and feel that over time there's a great opportunity for growth, and so I can achieve the income that I need to make to be able to leave my job.
So it sounds like you've been doing some looking. What have been your results thus far, Steve?
Well, I really haven't found anything so far. I've looked at a few things, and I've done some research on them a little bit. They've given me information about their compensation plan, and some of them are so complicated I couldn't even figure it out. I'd spend 4 years and try to figure them out. I couldn't figure it out. So something that's got to be reasonably transparent and reasonably, straightforward in the technology field, and haven't found that yet.
Okay. Do you have any other ideas why your results thus far have been so unsatisfactory? Any other thoughts?
No, I guess I haven't really, pursued it to the degree I should. And the other issue is I haven't found anybody that I talked to that I really could have a good feeling about, if you know what I mean.
Yes, sir. when you are talking with someone like you just said, what is it that makes you so uncomfortable?
Well, you know, they're not. They're really talking to me about how this is the real deal, and you need to get involved, because if you don't get involved, you're going to miss the train. And excuse me. And so you need to get involved right now, and you know, don't worry about anything. We'll teach you everything you need to know. So, you know, how about we get started? And, you know, I need to do a little bit more research, and then I go on, you know, Google, you know, look at the Google, and Google always says, not always, but many times has some really bad reviews, and so I sort of, then he never calls me back, or she never calls me back, and I sort of drift away, and sort of peters out, and so I look for the next one.
Okay, because you sound like an I dotter and a T crosser. Would it make you comfortable if I could provide you kind of a checklist, maybe with questions that you haven't even thought of to ask yet, that you could have access to a better way of doing due diligence, so maybe you could find something, whether it's my opportunity or not? Just knowing how to do this exercise would help you evaluate anything you look at in the future. Would that be something that might be appealing to you?
Yeah, I think that would be good. I mean, I actually tried to put something together myself, but I never got too far with it. But yeah, that sounds like something I'd certainly like to take a look at it.
So in this step, if it would show you how to verify and confirm, you know, that the business is legitimate, and you're not being afraid of being scammed, would that be something that would be appealing to you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about being scammed. I'm pretty. Well, maybe not. Maybe should. The first time I say that, I probably will be scammed. But I mean, unless it's really, really sneaky, I'm not too worried about being scammed. I'm just worried about finding something that's legitimate and that really work with some people that I like to work with, and have the opportunity to really make something grow. Okay.
So if I understand you correctly, if you could be able to verify that the business is legitimate, that would be a step in the right direction.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then knowing a budget, so where you'd be a year from now, so you want to make sure that you could afford the business, would that meet your requirements?
Yeah, I'm not so much worried about the money. I mean, I'm assuming that this is not, you know, tens of thousands of dollars, but I'm assuming it's in the, you know, $500 to $1,000, somewhere in that, you know, somewhere, you know, it's reasonable.
Yes.
So money is not the big criteria. I mean, if I find something I like, you know, money is not going to be the determining factor unless it's, you know, a lot of money.
Okay. Well, would it make sense to you if you had a budget so you'd know what would be expected of you in the future, so there'd be no surprises?
Yeah, that would be certainly helpful, sure.
Okay. And because you are conscientious and you want to know the steps, 1, 2, 3, one at a time, what would it mean to you if you could show yourself how you could actually test something before you got involved in it to make sure that you made the right decision, since it's such a big decision, to avoid being disappointed in the future? How would that fit into your business plan?
Well, I think that would be certainly a good step. I mean, that would be a step down the road after I got some preliminary information and about the opportunity, and then sure, that would be sort of toward the end, but that would be certainly beneficial.
Okay, and then being able to know that you have the type of support you need and the people that you'd be working with fit you, how important would that be?
That's pretty important. To me, who you work with and who you associate with is, I mean, you spend time with them, and if you don't like them, you know, it wouldn't be. I wouldn't particularly like that. So I'd like to certainly try to get to know the people I'm working with and meet them one way or the other, face to face, if that's possible. Depends upon, you know, where people are and whatnot. But certainly, yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to meet people and shake their hand, look them in the eye.
Okay.
And see how they react.
And going slow and not being rushed and knowing what's expected of you, how important is that to you?
Yeah, I don't have to go too slowly, but I don't want to, as I mentioned to you earlier, after the first 5 minutes of talking with them, I'm not ready to, you know, sign up, even though they say that I'd better sign up or the world, you know, the opportunity is finished. So, yeah, I mean, I want to go in a measured pace, but not real slow, but just on a measured, you know, pace.
Oh, I'm curious, in your present occupation, what strong suits do you think you could bring to owning your own business? Have you thought about it?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm a pretty a person who pretty logical. I think that I am a person who can understand people and get along with people. I like people. I like people, but I'm not slap you on the back kind of person and glad hand you and tell jokes and sort of be the clown at the party. I'm not that kind of person, but I like people. I like to deal with them. I like people that are honest and have integrity and do what they say they're going to do, and treat me fairly, and I certainly treat them fairly.
Okay. So, if I understand you correctly, Steve is not gregarious or bombastic, but he's a conservative, but he does enjoy working with people. Integrity and treating fairly is very high on your priority list. You like things laid out for you where they're understandable, and you do enjoy high tech, and you want something that's transparent that you can understand and get comfortable with before you get started.
I think that's a good summary.
Okay. So with your permission, I'd like to send you an assessment tool that allow you to go through these steps, make an evaluation, maybe even help you with some questions you haven't thought of. And with your permission, you can go through all of these benefits. When we talk the next time that we get together, we can discuss to make sure that all of your questions are answered up front.
Well, sounds like that would be something would be good.
I'm curious. We've spoken for about 6 or 7 minutes. Have you felt like you're being sold anything?
No, not at all.
Have you felt the difference between our conversation and what you've been doing with these other folks?
No question about it. Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you think what you and I just did would be something that you could do without being a salesman and telling people things, just having a conversation like we did, and work a business doing no more than what you and I have just done?
Yeah, I think so, but I think I would, this new experience for me, I mean, you're asking the questions. I mean, I would have to get some training here and think about it, because never done anything like that before. So, but yeah, it sounds like something I could do. Yes.
As we go through this next step, if we could meet tomorrow about the same time, if that works for you, does it?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that'll work.
So tomorrow our objective is to answer these questions. I'm going to send you a link to the business itself so you can do a little homework there. Then tomorrow we'll go actually to the link together, and I'll make sure that we prove and verify all the statements that we're making where you can confirm them, where they're right there in writing where you can see them, okay?
Okay, so you're going to send me a link to the website?
Yes, sir.
In the email?
That's right.
Oh, okay, good.
And then tomorrow when we go through this assessment tool of evaluating, as we go through these questions, we'll confirm by going to the site and going to specific areas so you know that there's the answer, it's in black and white.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay? Well, if that makes sense to you, in addition to that, after tomorrow, it'll be a short call. After we do that, I'll send you some audios to show you what the training's like. I'll put together some folks you can visit with and get to know. And then we'll get together after that and answer any of your questions to see that we didn't miss anything. And no one during this process is going to ask you for any money or try to sell you anything.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. We'll stop right there, Steve. Now, Steve, based upon your concern, your thoughts when you started out with what's the name of your company, and you were talking about, I'm really just looking for the information. Based upon your mindset, did we miss anything, Steve?
No, I don't think so. I think we hit everything.
Okay. All right. Here's some things that we didn't talk about because you were very kind tonight for being an old-timer as a co-host. But if you would have said, for example, Steve, well, John, give me the bottom line. Okay? If you would have said that, instead of trying to be defensive, I would have come back and said, well, Steve, when you say the bottom line, can I ask you what you mean by the bottom line? If you would have said, I'm sorry, Steve.
Well, what's the business? What's the name of the business? What's the business?
Oh,
what do I do? What are you doing? What are you selling?
Okay, all right. Well, first of all, we would have said there is, I'm not selling you anything. All I'm trying to figure out is if what we have will fit you or not, so with your permission, could we focus on you? That's how we'd answer that question. As far as what the business is concerned, I would have responded with the fact that you asked for high tech, and so obviously you gave me permission to call you, so this is about high tech.
And I would have said, okay, well, I know, I don't need to, we don't need, John, I appreciate your concern, but we don't need to focus on me. I know who I am. I'm just trying to find out what you're offering.
Okay. Well, since I'm not a salesman, with your permission, can I focus on you to make sure that what I send you does fit you so you don't waste your time and I don't waste mine? Would that be okay?
Well, I already, as I mentioned, John, just send me the information. I'll take a look at it, and if I'm interested, I'll get back to you.
Okay. If someone is that adamant, like you are portraying right there, I would say I'll be glad to. I would send them the information, put my contact information on it, and I just put a P.S. I'll get back with you in a couple of days and be glad to answer your question. Looking forward to talking to you. Because if they have that type of mindset, I'm just going to opine to their request. That's it. I'm not going to fight them. Because sometimes when their mindset is that definitive and they won't even allow someone to focus on them, you've got a good chance that they're going to be very challenging to work with, and perhaps they're a bigger challenge than you want to tackle. You never know. But if that's all they want and they don't want to talk, I'm going to grant their wish, Steve. I'm not going to fuss with them.
Good, good. One. Can I ask a question?
Of course you can.
Okay, just one question. That is, when I have used the evaluation tool, I specifically don't send them a link to any information about the company. I try to save that for the next call, but you did that, and I wondered why was that?
Because you specifically asked for it in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
If you hadn't have asked for it, I would have left it out. But I can't ignore you when you say you want it, because that makes a prospect mad. I asked a question, you didn't answer it. You're avoiding me. If you hadn't have asked for it, I would have left it out.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. The only other question I have is, when somebody asks what the name of the company is, and I give it out, I just see them going on Google, going to the website.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yes.
And I've almost gotten to the point now where if they do that, and then I try to call them, I go through a conversation and I call them back, and from that point on, they never answer the phone.
Well, there's another way to handle it, Steve. If they say, what's the name of your company, you could also say this. You specifically requested for high tech, and so what I'm calling you about is seeing if you qualify for our high tech opportunity. Now, can I focus on you a little bit and find out a little bit what you're looking for? Now, if they nail my butt to the barn door and say, what is the name of your company, then I'm not going to hold back.
Right.
That's disrespectful.
Okay. Fair enough. And if they go there and they don't understand how to do due diligence, and they look at the electronic bathroom wall and they take their advice of somebody they don't even know, then so what? I would be a very good business partner anyway.
Yeah. In closing, because high tech is sophisticated, in closing, there's nothing wrong with saying at the closing, now I gave you the link to the website, okay? Now, if you're going to go look at it before we get together tomorrow, I'd like you to know that tomorrow I'm planning on taking you there to take you through all the steps so you're not overwhelmed with anything you see, and I'm there to answer all your questions to make you comfortable. If you would prefer to do that, that's what we're going to do tomorrow. And it'll make it a lot easier on you, a lot more comfortable, and we'll save a lot of time. Is that something that would interest you? And basically you're trying to diffuse them before they stick their foot in their mouth.
I got you, right.
Okay?
Okay, great, John, thanks.
Thanks, partner. Okay, who's next? Who's on the line? Is Vanessa or Deborah on the line? You guys are...
I'm on the line. This is Vanessa.
Okay, what's your question tonight, young lady?
My question is, seems like network marketing requires a lot of time, and I just don't have a lot of time to do a business that requires that much time.
When you say a lot of time, Vanessa, could you give me an idea what you're talking about? What's been your experience?
Most companies say it only requires 10 to 20 hours, but I've seen differently. It requires a lot more time than that.
10 to 20 hours a week, if you work smart and you don't waste your time and you're effective, is plenty of time to prove to yourself that the business is worth your effort. Now, if you spend all the time on the computer doing busy work and stuff like that, no. But if you actually work the business like a business for a minimum of a couple of hours in the evening, you can accomplish a lot. But when you say a lot of time, what are you looking for as far as results are concerned, Vanessa? What is it going to take to prove to you that it's worth your time?
That I can make a decent amount of money in a fairly decent amount of time.
And what do you mean by a decent amount? Could you put a number on that, please?
Maybe $500 to $1,000 a month.
Okay. And in learning a whole new challenge and a whole new career, if you only made, let's say, the first month $100 and the second month $150, and it slowly was growing, would that be acceptable to you, or would you say, no, that's not enough, I quit?
I guess it is paying for some of my initial investment that I've made into the company, and I see that it's growing, then that would be acceptable.
Okay. Now, until I know you a little better and you know what's expected of you, there's no way we can guarantee how much money you're going to make. Does that sound fair?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So it's all going to boil down to taking a little time, getting to know one another, and I'll be more than glad to make an investment in you of showing you what it does, how to work, what's expected of you before you make a decision to help you to get comfortable with that process. Would that help you?
It would, yes, that would be very helpful.
Okay. Does that answer the direction you were going, Vanessa?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Do you have another question, or is that it for tonight?
Yeah, I do have another question.
Okay.
This business opportunity sounds too good to be true. And I've known that things that sound too good to be too good to be true must be a scam.
I'm curious, what is it about the business that sounds too good to be true?
All this, hype about you can make, thousands and millions of dollars, that they say you can make in network marketing. It just sounds too good to be true. It just sounds like there's something hidden that, I'm not aware of.
Well, would it make sense to you if I said the people that make millions are the Tiger Woodses or the ex-Tiger Woodses or other famous people that you know? Not everybody is of that ilk. So the point is, do you have realistic interest, realistic expectations? What to you would be realistic that would make you comfortable?
Well, I would like to replace my income and be able to just solely work from home and not have to go to a job every day. So, I would like to I would like to make a six-figure income.
Okay. And how long did it take you to make that six-figure income, Vanessa?
Well, I haven't made a six-figure income. I'm just saying that's what my dream goal would be. I would like to make a six-figure income.
Okay. Are you working now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And so you know how much your salary is, and you know how long it took you to get to where you are. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And also it took a little learning to get where you are, too, in your occupation, didn't it?
That's correct.
So when you take all of that into consideration and where you are, when we say it's going to take you a year to 18 months to get proficient in this business, and after that it's strictly going to be up to you as to how much desire you have and how hard you work, that making good money is really an example of how hard you work. If you're going to work the business an hour a day, well then you're going to get an hour's worth of work. If you get excited and you're happy with what you're doing and you enjoy it, and you end up working your business 2, 3, 4 hours a day, you can look for as far as you want to go. Now, does that meet your time requirements and your needs?
It does. What do you mean by if you have a year to 18 months to before making any money in the business? I didn't understand that point that you made.
Well, what we're talking about is let's say you start out making $50, $100, $150 a month, and you're slowly building your business. Okay? Well, this is all a learning curve where you're going to hit certain plateaus. And the point is after you're in the business for about 12 to 18 months, you should have the experience that allows you to say, okay, if I can make X number of dollars a month for putting in X number of hours, can I make X number of more dollars by putting in more hours, and do I want to do this? But there needs to be a period of time of adjustment in there where you know the ins and outs of the business so you can measure how high you want to go. Is $2,000, $3,000 enough? Nope. $5,000 is your expectation. Because what I make isn't important. What's important is what you can do. And you're not going to know until you put the effort in to learn the business. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So rather than me tell you you can make $50,000 your first year and set you up for false expectations, wouldn't you be more comfortable if we started out with 100, 200, 300, whatever it is, and you say, okay, I've made that much, what do I have to do to get to the next level? And then it's up to you. You're going to be the controller of your fate, nobody else.
I like that.
Okay.
I like the sound of that.
Okay, does that answer your question, Vanessa?
It does.
Bless you. Okay, I know that Deborah Smith had some questions. Is she on the line? Nope. Okay, all right. Naomi, are you there? Naomi? Okay.
I'm here.
All right. Do you have a question for tonight or anything? Because you said you wanted to talk about something.
I for tonight.
Yeah.
When I frequently get people who are looking for a job as opposed to looking for a business, typically don't have any idea on what they really have to do.
Okay.
In order to be the master of their own fate. You know, they're looking for the lottery ticket.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of times. And sometimes I think it's disqualifying them right away or a period of adjustment. Can you give any insight?
I think honesty is the best policy, and the first question I would ask is, when you filled out this information on the website, were you looking for a business of your own, you know, for time freedom, for independence, for being your own boss, for making your own money, or were you really looking for just a job? And if they say, no, I want a job, then I would say, well, this is not a job, so would you like to spend a minute or two to find out the benefits of owning your own business? If you do, may I have permission to proceed? If they say, no, I'm looking for a job, then I say, I sincerely wish you the very best. You've just disqualified yourself. May I have permission to delete your file?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okie dokie. You had something you wanted to talk about, and if now's as good a time as any.
Okay, earlier John and I were discussing maybe some future classes, and a thought that we had, and I guess he would like some feedback on it, is since Bob was on the line last week talking about listening, maybe do a session like John had done earlier in the first part of this call, but interrupting it at different points and literally asking us what we heard. Maybe even specific questions. For example, how do you think this person felt when I asked them this question?
What question would you have asked? Or would you have asked the question any differently?
No, more focused on what did you hear?
What did you hear?
What impression are you getting?
Okay.
Being the student about this person.
I like that idea. Because everybody hears the same thing differently.
Mm-hmm.
And we can learn how other people listen and what they hear, which will help us to understand what we're saying is that they may not be hearing and thinking what we're thinking, and that's why we're going two different directions. That's a lovely idea. That's a lovely idea.
Exactly.
A lovely idea.
Continuing the listening skills.
Okay. All right. You're on. I accept that. I'll work up the program for next week, and next week we'll be focusing on in-depth skills of listening. Thank you, Naomi. Bless you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anybody else have a question before I open up the floor to our guests? Okay, here we go.
All callers are unmuted.
Anybody?
This is Yvonne.
Hello, Yvonne.
Hi. I'm trying to expand a business in Huntsville, Alabama, and the business that I'm doing is in person. So I'm getting people interested without a problem, but then I'm trying to set up an appointment to get them to sit down with me in person, and I had like 4 no-shows in a row. So how do I avoid no-shows is my question.
Okay. If you've ever made a list, Yvonne, of all the benefits of your business in your conversation, if you would ask them, when we meet tomorrow or if we get together again, would this benefit be of interest to you? How do you see this benefit? Is that the kind of benefit you're looking for? And you go over the list of benefits with them, whether it's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, so they are agreeing that that is a benefit that they would like to talk about, so they know when you get together that what they're going to talk about is what they're interested in. Does that make sense, Yvonne?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Bless you and have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
Anybody else have a question?
Hey, John, this is Bill.
Yes, sir.
A person, you want to give a person your product, and you request the phone number, and they want to either give you their work phone number or their email address. It's hard to get a person on the internet because they don't check emails, or their phone number trying to get to them through their job is a problem. So should I accept job phone numbers or just not at all?
Well, if you want your second call to be productive, you need to have an environment where you can have a private conversation. And talking to someone at work is really setting yourself up for failure.
Exactly.
So the idea is to express to them that this is one of the biggest decisions you will ever make because it's all about you. We need 10 or 15 minutes with no interruption. What would be a good time after work that we could do this or before work? And let them know the significance and the importance that it's all about them.
Okay. Thank you, John.
You're welcome, Bill. Take care, buddy. Anybody else have a question? Okay.
Hello, Mr. Nick.
Yes, sir.
This is Eric speaking.
Yes, sir, Eric. Yes.
Yes, I don't have a question, but I have a quick testimony in regards to the application of your what you've been teaching. I had taken a prospect. I was taking a prospect through the discovery process, and after taking it through the discovery process, I realized that I was going to have to disqualify her, which is I really wasn't comfortable doing. But the next day, I set up my a meeting, sent her the assessment tool, set up my meeting with her, and I had decided, to go ahead and follow through as you have been teaching to disqualify her. So what happened was when I did tell her that I was going to have to disqualify her, she really opened up and really started sharing with me, and it caught me by surprise because in the beginning I was having difficulty with it, her sharing with me, and what it had done for her, she ended up telling me in the end, was that by me disqualifying her, she had become more comfortable because she felt as though I really had cared, simply because I was going to let her go. And I was going to, in the fact that I was going to disqualify her, it also conveyed to her that we were a serious business, and we weren't just looking for just anybody. We were actually looking to really help people that were seriously wanting to work from home and were serious about changing their life. So that was a real eye-opener for me, and I just wanted to share that testimony with everyone.
Well, Eric, thank you very much, and I know I'll see you on our other coaching call on Thursday night, right?
Yes, sir.
Bless you. I'll talk to you on our one-on-one session this week, too, so thanks, Eric. Bless you, buddy. Anybody else have a question? Okay, we have a lot of noise in the background, so unless we have a question, no questions, okay. Next week we're going to focus on listening and the details and the intimacy of how to listen and what you hear and what someone else hears. We'll have the program all ready for you by next week, so bless you all. See you next week, and have a wonderful week, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, John.
Good night, Melanie.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody. Good night.